So today we're once again going to go through Homo Deus, and today, as I'm just seeing at the time because I'm having it in the background, we're going to talk about Homo sapiens, which is something that's quite interesting, quite a coincidence maybe, you know. But it might even be the last episode. I'm not quite sure if this is going to be the case, since it's, you know, there's quite something left. It depends on how fast we're going to be today. But yeah, I'm pumped for it. I'm really looking forward to it. And we're going to see after the intro, as always, as every day, because this is what we do. And I'm hopefully also going to be able today to share just some things that are of value for you and that can just contribute something to your life. Would at least be just something that's pretty fucking amazing. So we are going to see. And it is already there. I know, today is a good day. Today is a good day. There's actually some kind of remix by Will Smith that I think is only online in form of a TikTok video, I guess. And it goes like the thing that I've just been singing. So I don't remember anymore. Fuck this shit. So yeah. Part 3, Homo sapiens loses control. Like every other religion, liberalism too is based not only on abstract ethical judgments, but also on what it believes to be factual statements. And these factual statements just don't stand up to rigorous scientific scrutiny. The last nail in freedom's coffin is provided by the theory of evolution. Just as evolution cannot be squared with eternal souls, neither can it swallow the idea of free will. For if humans are free, how could natural selection have shaped them? If, thanks to its fit genes, an animal chooses to eat a nutritious mushroom and copulate with healthy and fertile mates, these genes pass on to the next generation. If because of unfit genes, an animal opts for poisonous mushrooms and anemic mates, well, I don't know. These genes become extinct. However, if an animal freely chooses what to eat and with whom to mate, then natural selection has nothing to work with. If by free will, quote unquote, we mean the ability to act according to our desires, then yes, humans have free will, and so do chimpanzees, dogs, and parrots. When Polly wants a cracker, Polly eats a cracker, but the million-dollar question is not whether parrots and humans can act upon their inner desires. The question is whether they can choose their desires in the first place, or if it is something that's just programmed into their genes, which I guess is a pretty huge part. And this is, this is something that was also, I think, kind of a question throughout Sapiens, as far as I remember, especially when it comes to natural selection, which is something that I really find interesting because yeah, I know, as I've been talking about it just way too often, I guess, but I'm gonna repeat it once again. At this point in time, there is no such thing as natural selection, to some degree. To some degree there was, and we are at this point in time on a very high level when it comes to genes. What I mean is that everyone, whether you're having bad genes or good genes, is able to mate, and you can reproduce those bad and or good genes. And the quote-unquote problem, therefore, is that we can still reproduce bad genes. So in the end, if natural selection would be a thing at this point in time, then I think at least we could kind of ensure that in 200 years, 100 years, the human species is just going to be better than at this point in time. But since, like on a total, you know, on an average, basically, you know, but at this point in time, since there is no natural selection, there is no predators, there is nobody that is threatening our lives, which is, of course, a good thing. You know, I don't want to say that it is a bad thing. But when it comes to genes and reproducing bad genes, there is then also no way that this can be restricted, you know? But of course, I mean, I think we all have bad genes in some or the other way, you know? I might be having bad genes in terms of my fucked up chest. I'm actually having a hole in my chest in terms of like my rib cage is deformed slightly, which is also just due to probably bad genes, I guess. I'm not quite sure if this is the case, but I assume maybe. Or just, I don't know, some allergies that people are having, which is just really often the case. I mean, this is also, I think, having something to do with genes. So in the end, I don't know, there's no pure human being with perfect genes and whatnot. So we all are good at something, but not good at everything. But still, I think that it is something that's pretty interesting to think about if you consider the free will then, or if it is just something, as I said, that we are programmed, quote unquote, to do. When a biochemical chain reaction makes me decide to press the right switch, I feel that I really want to press the right switch. So even though our body says, or some genes say, or whoever says that we should be doing something, we at least in the end feel that it is our free will. So when does it start and when does it stop? Which is, I don't know, a pretty tough question, I would say. And this is true. I really do want to press it. Yet people erroneously erroneously jump to the conclusion that if I want to press it, I choose to want it. This is of course false. I don't choose my desires and I only feel them and act accordingly. The single authentic self is as real as the eternal soul, Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. If I look really deep within myself, the seeming unity that I take for granted dissolves into a cacophony of conflicted voices, none of which is my true self. Humans aren't individuals, they are the-viduals. Which, by the way, is a pretty cool thought, because I often talk about humans as individuals and us as individuals and why it is important to just also think about us as individuals. So, yes. In yet another experiment, the nonverbal right hemisphere was shown a pornographic image. The patient reacted by blushing and giggling. What did your left hemisphere and the patient immediately... What did you see? Asked the mischievous researchers. Nothing, just a flash of light, said the left hemisphere, and the patient immediately giggled again, covering the mouth with her hand. Why are you laughing then? They insisted. The bewildered left hemisphere interpreter, struggling for some rational explanation, replied that one of the machines in the room looked very funny. So it's obviously a lie, isn't it? So I don't know. I don't know what they should get out of this. Quite. So what do the patients prefer? To have a short and sharp colonoscopy or a long and careful one? There isn't a single answer to this question, because the patient has at least two different selves and they have different interests. If you ask the narrating itself, or the narrating self, it would prefer a long colonoscopy because it remembers only the viewpoint of the narration or narrating self. It remembers only the average between the worst moment and the last moment. Indeed, from the viewpoint of the narrating self, the doctor should add a few completely superfluous minutes of dull aches at the very end of the test, because it would make the entire memory far less traumatic. Because it lasts longer. Furthermore, the experienced self is often strong enough to sabotage the best laid plans of the narrating self. I might, for instance, make a New Year's resolution to start a diet and go to the gym every day. Such grand decisions are the monopoly of the narrating self. But the following week, when it's gym time, the experiencing self takes over. I don't feel like going to the gym, and I instead order pizza, sit on the sofa and turn on the TV. Priests discovered the principle thousands of years ago. It underlies numerous religious ceremonies and commandments. If you want to make people believe in imaginary entities such as a god or such as gods and nations, you should make them sacrifice something valuable. The more painful the sacrifice, the more convinced they will be of the existence of the imaginary recipient. So I really want to repeat this once again. The more painful the sacrifice, the more convinced they will be of the existence of the imaginary recipient. So if it just takes a lot of time, then, I think it just also makes sense to some degree, because if I invest a lot of time into something, then it's better gonna be true. And so I just maybe make myself feel like that it is something that's true, and that I don't feel dumb about myself, and that I don't feel bad for wasting such a lot of time. Maybe. Giving citizens political rights is good, because the soldiers and workers of democratic countries perform better than those of dictatorships. Allegedly, granting political rights to people increasing their motivation and their initiative, which is useful both on the battlefield and in the factory. A similar rationale favored the enfranchisement of women in the wake of the First World War. Realizing the vital role of women in total industrial wars, countries saw the need to give them political rights in peacetime. Realizing the vital role of women in total industrial wars, countries saw the need to give them political rights in peacetime. I see. Of course, I don't know. Just people. People in general are powerful, aren't we? We can be, if we want to, maybe. Let's put it like this. In the 21st century, liberalism will have a much harder time selling itself. As the masses lose their economic importance, do we? Will the moral argument alone be enough to protect human rights and liberties? Will elites and governments go on valuing every human being even when it pays no economic dividends? At least for armies and corporations, the answer is straightforward. Intelligence is mandatory, but consciousness is optional. Yes. Which might mean just get a fucking AI thing, because is it conscious? We don't know, but probably not. But is it intelligent? Yes, it is. Because it's AI, artificial intelligence. The name already says it. Some economists predicted sooner or later unenhanced humans will be completely useless. Robots and 3D printers are already replacing workers in manual jobs such as manufacturing shirts, and highly intelligent algorithms will do the same to white-collar occupations. I think as far as I can remember, Elon Musk said that it might be about this, it might be about something completely different, I'm not quite sure. But I think he thinks that this is going to be the case in like 100 years or something, or 200 years, I guess. I'm not sure. I really am not sure. Anyway, bank clerks and travel agents who a short time ago seemed completely secure from automation have become an endangered species. How many travel agents do we need when we can use our smartphones to buy plane tickets from an algorithm that is just seeking the best offer with the best price with, yes, that's it. Best offer and best price. And what do you want to have more? And you don't have to pay anything for the algorithm instead of just paying an additional fee, probably for the travel agent. So yeah, it is fucked up. And I think it's definitely going to be the case for a lot of more jobs. When it comes to graphic design, since I'm a graphic design student, I don't know. I don't know if, I mean, like there's already some algorithms that can produce you a good logo, quote unquote, good logo. It's just going to be one of, I don't know, a billion different combinations maybe, which might be just enough for some people. And I think it is also fine. Like, I don't know. I still believe that, I don't know. And I might be wrong there, but I still believe that the logo isn't that important. I know it represents the company and you know, there is, when it comes to brands, then it might be, or it should be, let's put it like this, it should be reflecting like emotions and all sorts of things, you know. But in the end, I mean, it is difficult. It is really difficult to say. Because of course, how you present something is a really huge important part, because if you present something in a very luxurious way, then it is also luxurious. Whether the product itself is luxurious, like of course, presenting things in general, presenting the packaging, presenting the product itself, and then letting the product itself also represent luxury. What I mean is, you have a great packaging, you know, everything is just very, when we now think about something luxurious, you know, everything is a little bit darker, there's some gold accents, there is some minor details, everything looks really high quality, it looks high quality, and it feels high quality. If it is high quality in the end, doesn't really matter then, you know. And I don't know, of course, the logo should also fit the whole thing. You know, there should be an illusion quite, you know, which, yeah, and everything plays into that. Whether it is the logo, whether it is the colors, whether it is the font that you're using, whether it is whatever, everything has to play into it. And, you know, with this thought, of course, having a good logo is important. A good logo that fits the products, that fits whatnot. But yeah, and I still think like, you don't need to spend that much to get that, maybe, you know. I don't know, but still in the end, those agencies, they also want to earn some money. And it just really takes some time to produce a good logo and think about a good logo and structure a good logo that can be used for just ages. Anyway, the training of a human doctor is a complicated and expensive process that lasts years. When the process is complete, after a decade or so of studies and internships, all you get is one doctor. If you want 2 doctors, you have to repeat the entire process from scratch. In contrast, if and when you solve the technical problems hampering Watson, you will get not one, but an infinite number of doctors available 24/7 in every corner of the world. That is probably making pretty good decisions, isn't it? You know, if I think about robots, and I don't know if Watson is just a robot in this case, or just some AI-driven machinery, but it should also then be able to make pretty good decisions. It should be able to make pretty good decisions. So I don't know if it is going to be making good decisions. I don't know if it is going to be just that good. But I think that, I don't know, like based on data, it is going to make good decisions. You know, if it is then going to be a good decision in reality, is like, I don't know, you know, because obviously the machinery doesn't feel. The machinery, you know, the machinery might be calculating and therefore also being like, should I take this or should I take that decision? It is going to take the decision with the better chances of success, I would say, or hopefully, I would say. But I don't know. I mean, if it is just 80% sure that everything is going to be fine, there's still 20% of a chance that it is not going to be, which which can be pretty high if you think about it. Like 20% is 20%. Of course, which is going to lead to only 20% of the people going to have a problem, and 80% are not going to have one. But yeah, of course. I mean, I think human doctors are also making a lot of mistakes, every single day. But I don't know. I mean, in this sense, it might be a pretty tough job. Thinking about situations where they do not really know the answer, because the fact is, I mean, they know the answer. They just don't do a surgery once in a lifetime. It's not the case. There might be some, but I think they're often just doing the same one, and they might just be making the same decisions over and over and over again, which just makes them more secure and makes them more working, more workable, more whatever. I don't know. In its first year of operation, the robotic pharmacist provided 2 million prescriptions without making a single mistake. The most important question in 21st century economics may well be what to do with all the superfluous people. What will conscious humans do once we have highly intelligent, non-conscious algorithms that can do almost everything better? I don't know, it's going to be about art maybe, something that maybe it's also going to be more into human-made things. That, okay, I'm going to just give you my pot, and this pot is human-made, and my plates are also human-made. Maybe there's then not going to be a new market for that. It could definitely be the case. In 2004, Professor Frank Levy, I guess, from MIT, and Professor Richard Murnane from Harvard published thorough research of the job market, listing those professions most likely to undergo automation. Truck driving was given as an example of a job that could not possibly be automated in the foreseeable future. That could not. It is hard to imagine. They wrote that algorithms could safely drive trucks on a busy road. A mere 10 years later, Google and Tesla can not only imagine this, but are actually making it happen. So yeah, I mean, to all the truck drivers, I don't know. You have to, I think, change something, and you have to work on something, I guess. Where have I stopped? I shouldn't be doing this. There. As algorithms push humans out of the job market, wealth and power might become concentrated in the hands of the tiny elite that owns the all-powerful algorithms, creating unprecedented social and political inequality. However, once millions of human drivers are replaced by a single algorithm, all that wealth and power will be cornered by the corporation that owns the algorithms and by the handful of billionaires who own the corporation. Alternatively, the algorithms might themselves become the owners. It could be the case, I don't know. I think we can imagine quite everything. At the end of the performance, a vote was taken. The result? The audience thought that Emmy's piece, or EMI's piece, was genuine Bach, that Bach's piece was composed by Larsen, and that Larsen's piece was produced by a computer. So in the end, everything was done by a computer, in terms of it could have been, since it's so good that Larsen's piece was produced by a computer. But I mean, of course, when it comes to just music, which, well, yeah, never mind. Annie does not restrict itself to music composition, but also explores other art forms such as haiku poetry. In 2011, co-published comes the Theory Night, 2000 haiku by Man and Machine. Some of the haiku were written by Annie and the rest by organic poets. The book does not disclose which are which. If you think you can't tell the difference between human creativity and machine output, you're welcome to test your claim. Yeah, it's gonna be I don't know. I mean, once there's a way to, I mean, there is a way. I mean, just having several different words and just composing them in different ways and knowing what rhymes with what and just having an indication of that. I mean, there are endless ways of I don't know, of producing poetry, quite. Also because you can feed the machine with already made poetry, and the machine is just gonna see things and gonna just deal with these things then, and yeah, it's gonna make new things out of these things, quite. If this makes sense. I think it's not making any sense, but anyway. The likelihood that computer algorithms will replace archaeologists by 2033 is only 0.7% because their job requires highly sophisticated types of pattern recognition and doesn't produce huge profits. Yes, I think the later part, and doesn't produce huge profits, is more important than the first one. Hence, it is improbable that corporations or government will make the necessary investments to automate archaeology within the next 20 years. It is improbable. What does improbable mean? I don't know what it is. Unlikely. Yes, because why should they? If there's not a lot of money in that, why should they? Unless there is some way to get more information by doing this, and in terms of like seeing it as a part of an equation and doing it because it is the part of the equation, and then being able to just, I don't know, have something cool because of this is the only thing that I can think of quite. But yeah, this is gonna, it's getting darker. It might be even a case that it's gonna rain today. Gotta have to look that up, which is a pity. I like warm weather. I really do, because it's nice and it feels good or something. I don't know. But yeah, I'm gonna end the episode there. So the question of today is, what could you make? What could you change? What could you say that you know is really gonna make somebody's day? What could it be? What could you, yeah, what could you make? But yeah, with that being said, I wish you the best health of happiness and also success, and also hope that you're gonna remind us of when you're gonna be remembered, which basically means your legacy, and basically means just being a nice person, and then also being remembered as a nice person. Which is cool. You know, being remembered as a nice person is, I think, just ultimately something that we all, to some degree, want to have. You know, we just, I don't know. I think no one is willing to be remembered as an asshole. At least not by everyone. Of course, some people are gonna remember you as an asshole. Are they right? Maybe. Because they are viewing the world in a different way than you're viewing it. But, pretty huge but, there's also going to be some people that really are going to be fucking crushed when once you're gone. Because they think that you've been a pretty valuable person. And for society, for them, for their family, for just their loved ones as well. I don't know, like many different ways. Anyway, 3 other questions that I'm having for you are, why are you here? What are you trying to change? And what is bothering you the most? These 3 questions are hopefully going to show you your purpose and maybe even a business idea, because it is amazing. It's a cool thing. Yeah, I'm going to end the episode there. So I wish you the best. I hope that you're safe and healthy and that everything is fine and that you're also going to be fine in the future as well. And yeah, maybe we're going to see you the next time, or maybe we're going to see each other the next time. I would certainly appreciate that. And I know the camera setting might not be optimal, and I'm sorry for that. But it is pretty chilly, pretty cozy sitting like that. Anyway, I'm hopefully gonna see you the next time, so bye-bye. Have a good day. Have a wonderful day.